So, dear students, today I am going to start chapter number 1, that is resources and development. And I am going to discuss about the term resource. What does the term resource mean? Okay. And the classification of resources, that is the different types of resources on different bases. So let us first know know about the definition of resource, or what does the term resource mean. I think you all have some information about the term resource. Okay, what does resource mean? Okay, see, resources basically refers to those elements or materials which are available in our surrounding, which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as a resource. So you will find there are various products, there are various materials which are available in our surrounding, and we are dependent on those materials, okay, for various purpose actually. So those materials, they are actually helping us, okay, to satisfy our needs, okay, and they are known as the resources, okay. So those materials must be economically feasible. That means like it must be economically affordable. Okay, we must have the appropriate technology to utilize or extract those materials from the environment, and the materials should be culturally acceptable. It must be accepted by the society. It must be accepted by our culture. Okay, then only it will be considered as a resource. Okay, so in our surrounding environment, okay, we see various kinds of living and non-living components. Okay, we find various kinds of living and non-living materials. Okay, so these living and the non-living materials, okay, they are known as the resources. Okay, such as the plants, the animals, the microorganisms, the soil, the water, the sunlight, okay, the cars, buses, okay, various kinds of materials which include both the living and the non-living components actually, okay, they are known as the resources. Even we human beings are a part of the resources, or you can say human beings themselves are resources, because we human beings, okay, we have helped the human society to develop, okay, we have helped the human society to be technologically advanced, okay. So resources basically refers to any kind of thing, okay, any kind of material which has the ability to satisfy the needs of the human being are considered as the resources. Okay, it may be anything. It may be the plants, it may be the microorganism or anything. And one more thing to be noted here is that a particular element or a material which is a resource for me, it may not be a resource for the other group of people. Okay, because the demand, the need, or the use of a material, it changes, okay, from one person to another, or from one area to another. Okay, so this is why a same material may be a resource for me, but it may not be a resource for the other group of people. Okay, so the value of the materials, okay, the value of the material, or the use of the materials, it varies from one society to another, from one group of organisms to another, or from one region to another. So these resources can mainly be classified into different types. The resources can mainly be classified into different types. Let us discuss about the classification of the resources. So these resources can mainly be classified into different types, okay, on different bases. Basically, the resources can mainly be classified into natural and man-made. Okay, natural resources basically include those resources which are obtained from the nature, okay, or the resources which are provided by the nature, they are known as the natural resources. As well as there are some resources, okay, which are being created by the human beings. Okay, human beings has created those resources actually. Okay, they are known as the human resource or the man-made resources. Okay, for example, you can see the mobile phones, the laptops, okay, the roads, the railways, okay, the cars, the buses, and also, okay, these are actually the man-made structures, okay, the buildings and all. So these are the human resources, whereas the natural resources basically include the coal, petroleum, natural gas. Okay, these are the natural resources, the living organisms. So basically, the resources
Excuse
can
me,
mainly
sir.
be classified into two categories. Apart from the natural and the human resources, the resources can also be classified into different types on different bases, such as the resources can be classified on the basis of origin, It can be classified on the basis of the exhaustibility. The resources can also be classified on the basis of the ownership. That means who is the owner of the resources, particular resources, as well as the resources can also be classified on the basis of the status of development. Okay, so these are the 4 different bases of classifying the resources. Okay, and now we are going to discuss in details about the types of the resources on the basis of origin, on the basis of the exhaustibility, on the basis of the ownership, and on the basis of the status of development. See, so resources on the basis of origin. Okay. On the basis of the origin, the resources can mainly be classified into 2 different categories. That is the biotic resource and the abiotic resource. Okay. Biotic resource basically include the living components of the earth. Okay. That means the resources which has life in it, they are known as the biotic resources. And abiotic resources basically include all the non-living components on the earth. Okay, the resources which does not have life in it, they are considered as the abiotic resources. See, biotic resources. Biotic resources are obtained from the biosphere and they have life, such as the human beings, the flora and the fauna, that is the different types of plants and animals, the fisheries, the livestock, etc. Even the microorganisms. Okay, the microorganisms also, they are the resources. Okay, because they helps in decomposing the dead remains of the plants and the animals. They help in maintaining the fertility of the soil. Okay, so this is why they are also considered as a resource. Whereas the abiotic resources mainly include the non-living components or the non-living things. Okay, the non-living things are mainly considered as the abiotic resources. For example, the rocks, the different types of metals, the different types of minerals, the man-made structures such as the cars, buses, and all. Okay, any kind of structure which are being made by the human beings which does not have life in it. Okay, they are the abiotic resources. So the resources can mainly be classified into 2 categories, okay, on the basis of the origin, such as the biotic and the abiotic resource. Apart from this, the resources can also be classified on the basis of the exhaustibility. Okay, there are some resources which gets exhausted once we use it, and there are some resources which does not get exhausted after its use. Okay, so on the basis of the exhaustibility, the resources can mainly be classified into 2 different categories or 2 different types, such as the renewable resources and the non-renewable resources. And I think we all have some information about this resources, renewable and non-renewable, because we all have studied this renewable resource and non-renewable resources in our junior classes. Okay, so let me explain it once again. Okay, what does the term renewable resource mean? See, renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed or reproduced by the physical, chemical, or the mechanical processes. Okay, renewable resources basically include all those resources which can be renewed. Okay, which can be renewed by some physical changes, by some chemical changes, or by some mechanical process. Okay, they are known as the renewable resources or the replenishable resources. Okay, such as the water, the plants, etc. They are the renewable resources. Okay, like water. Okay, water is a renewable resources because we find water on the surface of the earth, and this water, okay, because of evaporation, okay, they get converted into water vapor and they reach the higher layer of the atmosphere. Okay, and there they get condensed, cooling of the whatever takes place, and they form the clouds. And these clouds, they again fall on the surface of the earth as rainfall. Okay, so here you can see that the cyclic movement of the water is taking place continuously. Okay, so this is why it is a renewable resource. Whereas the plants they grow, they give the fruits, the seeds, and all. From there, a new plants or the saplings they grow actually. Like this way, they maintain their renewability actually. Okay, and this is why they are also considered as a renewable resource. Okay, so in short, you can say that any kind of resources which can be renewed again and again are considered as the renewable resources. Whereas on the other hand, the non-renewable resources are those resources which cannot be renewed after its use. Means once we use it, it gets fully exhausted. It cannot be brought back to its previous state actually. Okay, for further utilization. So they are known as the renewable resources. So basically, the renewable resources mainly include the fossil fuels, the minerals and all. Okay, such as the coal, petroleum, natural gas. Okay, different types of minerals and also. Okay, they come under the category of the non-renewable resources. And these resources, they take a long geological time for its formation. They take millions of years for their formation. Okay, like the coal, they take minimum 55 to 200 million years old for its formation. Okay, so these resources, when we use it, actually, it gets fully exhausted. Like petrol, when we fill a liter of petrol on the bike or the car, we go for a few kilometers and it gets totally exhausted. We cannot bring back it to the previous state. Okay, so those resources are the non-renewable resources. Okay. So on the basis of the exhaustibility, the resources can mainly be classified into two categories. One is the renewable and the non-renewable. See, these non-renewable resources, the non-renewable resources can further be subdivided into two types. One is the recyclable and another one is the non-recyclable. Okay, so within the non-renewable resources, there are some resources which can be recycled. Okay, such as the metallic resources. Okay, the metals. Okay, whereas there are some resources which cannot be recycled. For example, coal, petroleum, and all. Okay, they cannot be recycled actually. Okay, once they use it, they get exhausted. They cannot be recycled. But the metallic resources, such as iron ore, okay, they are the recyclable resources. So suppose we have an iron furniture, okay, and the total weight of the iron furniture is 10 kg. Okay, we are using it for a few years, and after that, okay, like rusting takes place, okay, and we throw it, okay, and or we give it to the scrappers. They collect it, they send it to the iron and steel industry, okay, and there the iron, okay, it is being purified again, melted, okay, and the wasted part is being removed, the rusted part is being removed, and this 10 kg of iron ore, okay, like the furniture which was of 10 kg, after purification and melting, we see that we get only 8 kg or 7 kg. So again, with this 8 or 7 kg of iron ore, we again manufactured a new product. Okay, again we use it for a few years and all. Again the same process goes, rusting takes place and all. Again the same process goes on. Like this way, what happens? A day will come. Okay, that particular 10 kg of iron ore will get fully exhausted. Okay, we'll not find a single gram of iron ore also. Okay, so this is why, okay, the metallic resources are the non-renewable resources but recyclable in nature. Okay, they are non-renewable but recyclable in nature. Okay. So these are the two types of non-renewable resources, that is the recyclable non-renewable resource and the non-recyclable renewable non-renewable resources. The resources can also be classified on the basis of the ownership. Okay, ownership of the resource. That means the resources are owned by who, which group of people, by an individual or by the community or by a country or by the international organization. Okay, so on the basis of the ownerships, the resources can mainly be classified into four different types. Okay, it can be classified into four different types, such as the individual resource and the community owned resource, the national resource and the international resource. See, individual resource. What is individual resource? There are some resources which are owned by a single individual. Okay, and those resources are known as the individual resources. For example, the piece of land which you have, that is an individual resource which belong to your parents. The house or the flat which you have, that is an individual resource. The car, the factory, the mobile phones, the laptops and all, these are all the example of the individual resources. Okay, means the resources which are owned by a single individual. Okay, they are the individual resources. On the other hand, the community owned resources are those resources which are being owned by all the members of the community, or you can say which can be utilized by all the members of the particular community. Okay, they are known as the community owned resources. For example, in the village areas, you will find that there is a common well, okay, or a tube well or a common pond is there, from where the people, all the people of the villages, they fetch the water. Even in the urban areas, we see that like along the roads and also get some government taps has been installed. Okay, and every day like we get water from this tap. The government supplies water through this tap. So the people of that particular locality, okay, they have the right to fetch water from that particular tap. Okay, so that is a community owned resource. there are some parks or playgrounds, okay, which does not belong to anyone actually, which belongs to the community. All the children of a particular community, they can go and play over there. Okay, so they are the community owned resources. Okay, so community owned resources basically include all those resources, okay, which are accessible to all the members of a society or all the members of a community. Okay, so these are the two types of resources on the basis of ownership, that is the individual and the community. But apart from this, the resources on the basis of ownership can also be classified into national and international resources. Okay, so what are these national and the international resources? Let us discuss. See, technically what is happening, like if you see the map of India, you know the outline of India, the border of area. So within the territorial border of India, of our country, whatever resources exist, okay, it belongs to our nation and they are known as the national resources. For example, within the territorial border of our country, okay, the fossil fuels, the minerals, the forest, the wildlife, okay, the water resources and all which we have, okay, they all belong to our nation. Okay, so they are the national resources. Okay, even our houses, the private properties and all, okay, they are also a part of the national resources, because if the government one, they can acquire the land from us for the benefit of the nation, for the development of the nation. Okay, because we are just like a tenant. Okay, we are just providing tax to the government. Okay, for possessing the piece of land and all. Okay, so those resources, okay, which are owned by the individuals, okay, or the private property, they are also a part of the national resources. Okay, so national resources basically include any kind of resources which lie within the territorial boundary of a nation. It may include the private property, it may include the roads, the railways, the canals, okay, various infrastructures, the agricultural land, okay, the minerals, the fossil fuels and all. Okay. But apart from this, in case of our country, India, as we are bounded by the oceans on three sides, okay, so in the oceans also we have some resources, okay, the resources, okay, which can be found in the oceanic areas, okay, we also have some right over those resources, okay. So basically from the coastline, okay, from the coastline till 12 nautical mile, which is 22.2 kilometer, okay, means from the coastline till 22.2 kilometer in the open sea, that is known as the territorial water. Okay, and technically all the resources which lie within this territorial water, it belongs to our nation. Not only this, but from the coastline till 200 nautical mile in the open sea, okay, that is known as the exclusive economic zone. Okay, that particular area is known as the exclusive economic zone. And any kind of resources within this exclusive economic zone, it belongs to our nation. Okay, and this is the reason that the Mumbai High oil field actually, okay, the Mumbai High oil field is located around 140 kilometers away from the city of Mumbai. Okay, so it lies within the exclusive economic zone, and this is the reason that the Mumbai oil field, it belongs to our nation. Okay, it is a part of our national resource. And if the resources are found beyond the exclusive economic zone, that means beyond 200 nautical mile, then they will be considered as an international resources. Okay, and these international resources are mainly like it can be utilized by any country, okay, after taking due permissions from the international institutions or the organizations such as the United Nations. Okay, so national resources basically include those resources which lie within the territorial boundary of a country. Okay, but in case of India, as we are bounded by the oceans on three sides, so in the oceanic water also up to 200 nautical mile, okay, the resources which exist, it belongs to our nation. Okay. The next and the last classification of resources on the basis of the status of development. So on the basis of the status of development, the resources can mainly be classified into four different categories, such as the potential resource, the developed resource, the stock, and the reserve. See, the stock and the reserve are almost similar. Okay, they are sub-part actually. See, potential resource. What is potential resource? Like in case of our country, okay, in Rajasthan and Gujarat, okay, we have a huge potential of generating solar energy and wind energy, because this part of our country, okay, they receive the maximum amount of insolation as well as the wind, they blow at a very faster rate. Okay, so in this region, okay, in this part of our country, actually, if we want, we can generate a lot of solar energy and wind energy. Okay, so what is there actually? There's a potential of what? Of generating the solar and the wind energy. Where? In Rajasthan and Gujarat. So it is a potential resource. Okay. So resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. Okay, those resources which are found in a region but it has not been utilized actually, they are known as the potential resource. Okay, so solar energy and wind energy is available in our country. Okay, in the state of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Okay, and we can utilize it actually for the benefit of the nation. Okay, so it is a potential resource. The next, developed resource. Developed resource basically include all those resources which is fully developed, which has become mature and is ready to be utilized at any point of time. Okay, basically those resources. Okay, suppose a new coal field or oil field has been discovered, and okay, like the survey has been completed. Okay, like we have done the estimation about the quality of the resource and the quantity of the resource. Okay, and if we want, we can start extracting the resource at any point of time. Okay, so such resources are known as the developed resource. See, resources which are surveyed and their quality and the quantity has been determined for utilization, such resources are known as the developed resource. For example, the coal, petroleum, and oil. One example I want to cite here is the discovery of the oil field in Ashoknagar. Okay, Ashoknagar is the name of a place in West Bengal where a coal field, where a oil field has been discovered. Okay, and like the survey was going on for the last few years. Okay, like what may be the quality of the oil. Okay, whether the oil is available in abundant supply or not. Now the survey is also completed. Okay, and according to the survey, it is estimated that a huge deposit of petroleum resources can be found in this area. Okay, so like at any point of time we can start utilizing, and even the government has given the permission. Okay, to carry out the extraction. Okay, extraction of these resources. Okay, so it is a developed resource. That means it is fully developed and is ready to be utilized by the human beings. Okay, so such resources are known as the developed resources. The next is stock. What is stock actually? See, there are some resources, okay, which can be utilized with the help of the present technology. Okay, and the same resources, okay, cannot be utilized for some other purpose because of lack of technology. Okay, so such resources are known as the stock and the reserve. See, materials in the environment which have the potential to satisfy the human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access these are included among stock. Okay, so stock are those resources, okay, which has the potential to satisfy the need of the human beings actually. Okay, but human beings, they does not have the appropriate technology, or the present technology is not enough to utilize those resources. Okay, so those resources are considered as a stock. The next is reserve. Reserve is a part of stock. Okay, reserve is a part of stock. These are sub part of stock which can be used with the present technology. Okay, reserve are the part of stock which can be utilized with the help of the present technology. Just I'm giving you one example. For example, water. Water, what is the formula of water? H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so the present technology is not enough to separate hydrogen gas from water. Okay, so in this case, it is a stock. But the same water, we are utilizing it with the present technology for generating hydroelectricity. So it is a reserve. Okay, so when the resource cannot be utilized because of lack of technology, then it is a stock. But the same resource, when it can be utilized for some other purpose with the help of the present technology, then it is a reserve. Okay. So these are the classification of the resources on the basis of the status of development. That is potential resource, developed resource, stock, and the reserve. Okay. So we have discussed today about the term resource. What does the term resource mean? Okay. As well as the classification of the resources on the basis of the origin, on the basis of the exhaustibility, on the basis of the ownership, and on the basis of the status of development. So thank you. I think you all have understood the term resource and its classification.